giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are back, streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Monday, emotional, right? Get all the emotions out. Tuesday, we figure out the why. What the hell happened? Take a look at the film. Wednesday, though, time to turn that page. Time to turn that page. We got a big one coming up in LA, going back to California. Cowboys, Chargers. We take a first look. We will be talking about how and where this Cowboys offense can bounce back against that Chargers defense. There are some holes, some spots in that defense that, you know, I've watched 3 games now, and I feel pretty good about coming up, and we'll break all of that down for sure. But before we get into that, right, because the game is on a Monday, we're kind of a little bit got a longer week, unfortunately. So we got a bit of a longer week, and if I'm not mistaken, I'll be here Monday anyway to do the morning show, and then it's gonna be a long Monday, Tuesday. I hate this part. Because before we talk about the Chargers and the Cowboys, the A block is not going to be fun for me personally, because I don't like talking about the higher-ups during the season. I hate that. I like to talk about ball and moving forward. Well, Sky, it's your show. You can do what you want. This is true. But you know I'm going to find a way to make it all tie together. So we're going to hear from the higher-up, and we're also going to hear from a couple coaches coming out of that game. And I promise you it will all tie together. And we'll a little bit more therapy today. In the A block, just the A block. And then we're going to talk about this Chargers Cowboys game. But I'm not a fan of the conversation we're going to have here, because it's usually saved for the off season, right? I say it all the time. But then there's some times when that man speaks and it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? But anyway, man, welcome in, Cowboys Nation.
Bomb Squad!
Appreciate the real being here. This is a tough week. A lot of people are checked out. A lot of people are going to be gone. And, you know, it is what it is. You really find out just how much you're really into a football season. But by week 5, I'm shocked how many people have checked out by week 5. But it is what it is. When you do this long enough, and the pulse is, you know, in these Twitter streets and internets, and obviously here doing content, you kind of get used to a lot of these things. But no matter what. One of my mantras since I started this thing: win, lose, or draw, I'm here for it all. I'm going nowhere. So before we get into the roundup, man, first of all, can we get some congratulations to the Rangers? This is where I wish I was into baseball again, you know, because this would be a great week to celebrate with the locals, right? To celebrate the Rangers' victory, moving on to the ALCS. And I can't. I have not watched them, not one iota. And they were right down the street. Could have been going to games or whatnot. But, you know, I'm kind of in this mode career-wise where I'm trying to get to where I got to get to, and it's all about football. But congratulations, man. Shouts out to the Texas Rangers advancing to the ALCS. I think it'd be amazing if they get to the World Series. I would definitely try to jump on the bandwagon. I ain't gonna lie, you know, I'm not a baseball fan, so I'll straight up tell you. When I say jump on the bandwagon, I have a team. I hate to even tell you, but I will definitely be rooting on the Rangers moving forward. It's just like I did with the Mavericks. You know, when the Mavericks, you know, went to the Western Conference, I wanted them to win. Of course, I live in Dallas. I want them to win. It'll be fun. So shouts out to them, man. For those who may be into the other teams, I know Oriole fans in here or whatnot, sorry. but I'm in Dallas now, and I want to see these guys succeed. So go Rangers. But my Cowboys need to get the goddamn guy.
Now that we've said hello, let's get down to business.
Let's do it, Rick.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. So, after that game, a lot of things have been made from players on both sides of the ball. A lot of things have been said. Shouts out to Fred. Fred has kept it clean, even though he was picked in pride and tried to get a soundbite. Found something out about Fred Warner in this little drop that I'm going to break down here. Didn't know he was a Cowboy fan. But he talks about how he was a Cowboy fan and they passed him up, so they had to see him. But the reason why I wanted to pull this play was because he broke down a little bit of what the Cowboys offense likes to do and what he was seeing on the sack. And this could obviously be a long-term concern. Like if you run into these guys again, although y'all know how I feel, unless this looks like a totally different game plan, it ain't happening. But nonetheless, here's Fred Warner on what he saw during that sack.
Sackaroni, I had to wrangle him down. Big old Dak. Just something about Dallas. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, I grew up a Cowboys fan. I mean, ever since they didn't draft me, I'm like, hey, y'all had your op, and now you got to see me. They tried to motion CeeDee to kind of see, all right, it's a man zone read. I knew that they love slants and they love crossing routes to try to, when we're in man coverage, if they want our guys to run into each other as their guys are kind of crossing to knock them off. And so I'm popping and I'm kind of looking in my peripheral to see if they're crossing. I see CeeDee coming across and the tight end. So I literally just had to try to jump in front of both of them to knock them off just to make sure that they didn't rub the guys that were covering. So boom, when I knock him off, that knocks the timing off of the play. Dak has to pump it. Oh, he escapes out. And then it's just perfect little lane for me to just run up and right in through there and
Sackaroni. I ain't gonna lie to you, that was kind of funny. Yeah. I thought we were over this. Knowing our plays. I mean, this guy's a cyborg, man. We talked about him coming into this game. There's somebody on Twitter was like, hey, man, y'all content creators said they had a weakness and y'all ain't respect. Hey, wait a minute. You ain't watching my content. No, sirree, Bobski. No, sirree, Bobski. The whole damn time I talked about how good this damn defense is. And, obviously we have to find where there are some spots you can take advantage of them. And there are spots for every team, no matter how great you are. And the Cowboys didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Fred, you could just tell how just great he is from his mental standpoint. From a distance, I've appreciated him as an NFL fan, right? But then when you listen to him, I listen to him on two different platforms, just speak. I'm like, okay, it makes sense why this guy's the best in the business, right? It makes sense. I didn't know he was a Cowboy fan, though. I would love one day I'm going to run into Will McClay, right? Because he came out the 2018 draft, right? I'm sorry, y'all. Give me a second. He came out 2018, right? Yeah. Oh, I would love to know. Hey, Will, what was the thought process when you guys said we wanted to take LVE over Fred Warner? Be real with me, Will. Yeah, I'm saying, like, be real. It's between me and you. I ain't gonna tell the bomb squad. I got you. Our little secret. What happened? What made you think somebody with a neck injury, that didn't look better, in my opinion, it's gonna be better? What happened? Hey, shouts out to Fred though. But I thought that was interesting. He essentially knew what we wanted to do, and if you go look on the other side of the ball, we thought, or at least Dan Quinn might have thought, that they knew what they were going to do, and they did some things differently too, all the way up until the game, right? Where, again, I know we'll talk about this a little bit more in a second. We didn't do anything that we were doing previously. In fact, it felt like we were way more basic, and we tended to get worse somehow, some way. going up against these dudes. So if you have to see him again, or anybody like him, which it's probably gonna be hard to do, you cannot go in with that same approach, man. Just can't do it. Oh, Jerry. This is the part I hate. All right. I don't like to talk about this stuff during the season, and I know I could just ignore it, but it ties into an ongoing situation here. Okay, Jerry Jones went on 105.3 The Fan, and they said a bunch of things. I didn't even listen to the whole thing. I just don't really care about what he has to say sometimes. Most of the times. In fact, all the time, except right now. And they asked him about getting CeeDee Lamb the ball. First of all, I hate the fact that we have to listen to our owner and vice president every single week talk football, like talk ball. Is there any other team that does that? I say this every year. It's stupid. So they asked him about getting CeeDee Lamb the ball. All right. And his answer gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'll turn off the music here, and here's just what Jerry said about it.
Jerry, why do you think CeeDee Lamb is as frustrated as it appeared he was on the sideline on Sunday?
Well, because he likes to kick the ball. I've never met any receiver worth his salt that wasn't frustrated if he didn't get a lot of attempts come his way, ever.
Is that something that needs to be a function of Dak getting him the ball, or is that something that you guys need to scheme up and involve him more in the game plan?
If you could get to every receiver 7 and 5 attempts a game, they'd be happier.
So but you would like to see him get more involved, right?
I'm saying I don't know about that. What I want to see us do is I want to see the right combination of running. I want to see the right combination of throws. I like seeing that ball go to Turpin on that play. I like seeing balls go to tight ends.
Normally. Again, whatever. But this absolutely cannot be the mindset for one of your best offensive weapons. It can't. It just can't be. And like I said, 9.9 times out of 10, I'll just say whatever and scoff at whatever he's talking about. But unfortunately, we know that he's quite literally dictated targets before. And that's what concerns me. I got you, Professor. I promise. I got you. That's what concerns me. He's went into these meetings and have dictated who needs to see the rock. And the icing on this conspiratorial cake, and I hate conspiracy stuff, especially during the season, but sometimes you have to talk about it. But the icing on the conspiratorial cake is the fact that CeeDee Lamb is up for a contract extension. So if he's up for a contract extension and he doesn't have that big giant year, to justify an enormous contract, we know how these guys like to do. We know how they like to operate. They want to get the advantage all the time in these negotiations, and they'll use any tactic. Is it out of the is it out of the equation to think that? Like, is it really hard to think that they would say, hey, wait a minute now. He don't need 15 targets. He don't need 13 targets. This mother said, well, yeah, every wide receiver would like to get 5 targets a game. There is a quote from Malcolm X. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. Again, I usually would save this conversation for the offseason, but I've said this to many of you for the last number of years. Our anger is dictated, is veered, it's pointed at the wrong direction year after year, man. Year after year. And we could just swap out newspapers for internet, for whatever you want to say, social media, whatever. But that is absolutely the case right now. Now I'll say this. I always talk about Dak having to have some in the system. McCarthy's going to have some too. And he was asked about this whole CeeDee Lamb situation, right? In the presser. He said some things the other day that I also didn't like, and maybe we'll talk about it at some point. But here's McCarthy when they asked him about getting CeeDee Lamb involved. And I'm also going to turn off the music for this so that you guys can hear exactly what he's saying. Now, let me make sure I got this loaded up right, because I know bada bing, bada boom. Realest guys in the room. How you doing? Here we go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, CeeDee, you know, I trust me, no one wants him to touch the ball more than I do. So, I mean, CeeDee's an impact player, has been for us. So, I think all those things are very fair questions, and we're having the same conversations. But at the end of the day, too, we gotta kind of remain some balance in our offense, because that's when we're at our best. But definitely, CeeDee he's a premier player, and that's how I view him, and that's our responsibility to make sure he has opportunities to make impact plays. But more importantly, I think we can do more as far as creating opportunities for big players or getting the ball specifically where we want it to go.
Now, that went by kind of fast. If y'all need me to run it back, I will. But he said a few things in there that, again, this all ties together. So when they asked him about this, he said, got a couple quotes. Quote, "No one wants him to touch the ball more than I do." You the play caller, coach. Scheme it up. Get him the ball. We've seen you do it in week 2. Why can't we do that, right? And it doesn't have to be in this generic-ass West Coast form. You know what I'm saying? So that one stood out to me. The other one that stood out to me, we're having the same conversations. Or we're having like the same conversation, get him the ball. I get that could be generalized, right? Hey, I'm talking to Schottenheimer, maybe talking to Prince, maybe talking to CeeDee. I don't know. Or I could put my conspiracy hat back on and say, are you talking to Jared? Because when you say we're having these who is having these conversations, coach? You the play caller. It ain't like when you target CeeDee Lamb, it's not catching. He has a 77% catch percent. That's the highest of his career. Then he said, we can do more to create opportunities for big players. Y'all know that meme from I forget what movie it was. Do it. Come on, do it. We can do more to create opportunities for big players. Yeah, you can. Do it. Again, you and Shotty and Dak have the control to do it. Do it. There's no reason why players that y'all won't even know these dudes have more targets than CeeDee Lamb going into week 5. None. And it was somebody in one of the comments the other day that said, no, that's a terrible game plan to go to try to get CeeDee Lamb the ball. Excuse me? Against the Niners. Excuse me? When you did spam CeeDee Lamb last year in the playoffs, it was the only thing that was going for you. Somehow, some way, we went from Lamb having his yards per route run being at a season high 3.76 in week 2. It's pretty solid. To 1.8 last week. The 2 weeks prior, 1.2 or 1.1. It was pretty damn low. You weren't even getting him downfield, intermediate, whatever. Less than 2 yards yards per route run. Yet last week on Sunday, Michael Gallup, 0.058. Brandon Cooks, 0.029. Okay, I know some of this is going to be a bit too nuanced for a lot of people that just want the low-hanging fruit, and that's for other platforms. But you can't possibly put on the film and look at these advanced statistics and say this is the right way to utilize these players. 1.8, 0.5, and 0.29 yards per route run. Brandon Cooks right now is being used the way he's being used is criminal. It's criminal. And don't tell me, we don't know how to get Lamb involved. You did. Do I have it up here? Week 2. 11 receptions on 13 targets, $143. Week 1, game was over early, but you have 4 receptions, 4 targets, 77 yards, right? And you can say, well, Sky, game script. What about the game script on Sunday? What about the game script on Sunday? Now, obviously, players got to do a better job, too. Like, I'm not devoiding them of their accountability. Like, CeeDee was getting mugged at the line of scrimmage. Gallup couldn't get open on the play that you want. Hey, one-on-one, backside, a bunch of room, quick slant, 1, 2, 3, throw it. You can't shake nobody. After a couple good games, you thought Gallup was getting back. Well, maybe that particular route you might want to give to Tolbert, and we use Gallup in a different way, maybe deeper slants as opposed to 2 yards and we slanting. I don't know, but they gotta do well too, right? Week 5, the Cowboys wide receivers had their lowest open percentage of the season, meaning I think it's like 3+ yards of separation to consider open in this statistic. This was the lowest. Schottenheimer was a bit shocked how well they played man coverage. You're supposed to have beaters for that. And we didn't run a whole lot of them. In my opinion, we didn't run a whole lot of them. So, yeah, they got to shake open. Y'all know me, how I feel about Dak needing to have some in his system. I'd much rather him go to the players, the receivers, the tight ends, whatever you want to do, and say, man, hey, look, F this. We're going rogue. We're not going to continue. We were quite literally running 3-4 yard slants down 3 scores. Coach, what are we doing? And that's what bugs me about him is that he could get stoic in the system, right? Like, such a coach's player, I get it. But sometimes, bro, I don't give a damn if you got to shake shit up on the sideline. We talk about this a lot. Conflict can sometimes end in a better resolution and just continue to do the same things over and over. Because there's no way you can just feel like, hey, this is going to work when it hasn't been working. You know what worked? Pre-snap motion, bunch formation, right? Concepts deep that were better than the concepts you were running, which weren't any concepts really, if we're being completely honest. Move in the pocket, jet sweeps, that stuff worked. And you never went back to it. I just don't understand it. You can't expect to just go mano a mano against that squad, bro. No. No way, no how, man. No way, no how. And I've said it and I'll keep saying it. There ain't many, but Dak damn sure ain't the quarterback that's going to get you out of a hole. And the way this offense is being set up is a bit frustrating. I wasn't going to get into this particular quote, but I said I'm questioning everything coming out of this thing. I'm questioning everything. And I get it. We came into the season saying the defense is the key, right? The defense is the strength. We might have questioned that too. But the defense is the strength. We got to play complementary ball. Complementary ball shouldn't always be, hey, we're going to nerf this thing because defense. This ain't the damn 2009 Jets. This ain't the Baltimore Ravens of 2000. You got some dudes on your side of the ball. So sometimes, like maybe if the game script goes the way it went in regards to the 3 other games, whatever, sure. But in a game where you knew you were going to have to score some points, you can't possibly tell me you thought the best way to go about this thing was to nerf the playbook. That concerns me. I've got questions because this was the game that you were supposed to be different. You weren't Mike. You weren't Dak. Shoddy, I don't know what you did in this game. Nothing looked like it, it made a difference. So I hate to have started to show off in that manner because we need to move on to San Diego. Almost said that, to LA. But hearing Coach talk, hearing Jerry talk specifically regarding CeeDee Lamb, I don't like what we're hearing. Now, talk is cheap. Talk has been cheap. You got to go out there and do it. One last thing, Schottenheimer, he reflected on the loss and he not just did a reflection, but self-evaluation. And then he talked about using all that and moving on to LA?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've probably seen the game from last night probably 5 or 6 times. Again, look forward to getting a chance to, get it cleaned up and emphasize that. We always start with ourselves first. And, hey, what do we need to do better? Okay, let's look at the third downs. Hey, let's look at the self-inflicted wounds. Let's look at the turnovers. Like I said, we're not going to shy away from any of that. Just like, when you win games, you don't just, fast ahead. You point out the successes, you point out the failures, and, we will spend a good deal of time on this film because it's important and it's not the standard. And if you don't make those corrections and you don't have those open dialogues with the guys about what we can do better offensively, what we can do better as a staff, and get that feedback from each other, then, you're destined to kind of repeat that. So we'll spend a bunch of time on it, and then the extra day does help with that because you can spend more time on the game. And then once we're done doing that, we'll put it to bed and get ready for the Chargers.
Well, let's put it to bed then, Shotty. Let's put it to bed and get ready for the Chargers. Here we go. As we're talking offense today, I thought it was only right to begin taking a look at the Chargers defense. Brandon Staley, head coach of the Chargers, he runs their defense. We have some experience playing against Staley back in 2021, I want to say. Week 2, 2021, Cowboys won 2017. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Cowboys defense did well against their offense, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. They're key players on that side of the ball. Joey Bosa, who may or may not play, early reports seems doubtful, dealing with a hamstring injury, so might get a break there. Asante Samuel Jr., the one that got away, but they're not really covering that well out there, but he still was a guy that can get his hands on the ball. We know about Asante Samuel, really, really good player. Derwin James missed a few games, I believe, but it looks like he's returning. He was back at practice yesterday. He's a guy that's all over the field, right? And then Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack was pretty quiet for most of the season. And then out of nowhere, dude had 6 sacks against the Raiders. I mean, they couldn't block the guy. But with all of that said, right, these great players on that side of the ball, there's some things they do not do well. A lot of things, actually, and they're still trying to figure some things out. It's a typical Brandon Staley defense from what I saw. I went and reached out to my stat guy and was like, man, how much are they continuing to play a whole bunch of too high, middle of the field open type of coverage? Yep, nothing's changed there. He's a top 10 in his too high usage, and he's number 1, tops in the league in middle of the field open coverage. This would be a good time to get some seam stuff going. But middle of the field open coverage, they're doing a lot of that. I don't think you're going to see them disguise too much of it. That's just Staley's defense. They want to play the umbrella coverage and give you space and room and come downhill and tackle. With that said, that creates a lot of voids in your defense, right? If you don't have the middle of the field to stop the run, you can be had in the run game or you can be had in the short passing game. And that's what's happening right now. They rank bottom 3rd in total DVOA on defense, 2nd to last in yards per game, 24th in points per game, dead last in pass defense. So, teams are throwing on these guys, but they want you to catch it, rally. They don't want you to get beat deep. However, there have been plays where that has happened, and they're 18th in yards per rush. Now, where the 2 areas they have been good, again, this is a bend but don't break defense. They're top 10 in red zone and top 10 on third down defense. So, they don't mind bending a little bit when you get down there. Then they try to tighten it up some. So that's the mantra of their defense. If you watched the show yesterday, me and Okoye, we talked a whole bunch about the Cowboys going away from the things that were working for them in the first 4 weeks of the season, getting under center and things like that. Boy, when I watched this Chargers defense, I watched Minnesota, LA, and the Titans. I have it in my notes here. And I'm screaming. This is me screaming on the notes. Get back under center. I promise you. It felt like 80% of the time any of these teams got under center, it was a successful play or a wildly successful play. They have trouble running downhill right at them. Now, it didn't hit me until late in this game because I'm like, who who the hell is number 31 in the middle of this defense? He is not good. And I'm like, oh, Kendricks is out. So I finished watching that game and I said, let me find a game where Kendricks came back. Kendricks came back against the Raiders and they were a little bit better, but they were still susceptible to being run on. This is not Fred Warner and Greenlaw. This is not that. Not at all. They play so much of that too high that they are very light in that box, and these guys just don't get downhill the same. So I think this is a good game to get the run game back on track from under, but not just a run game. Let me say this. To get the offense in a flow from under center. That's really what I'm trying to say here. Get back to getting under center and getting the offense into a flow. You don't have to play under center all game. That's not the reality of the league. But you can do some good things getting under center. Look at the play action that works. And when you do that, you have spots to hit. Now you got to get some pass game concepts, in that middle of the field or those deep overs. I don't understand why we just completely ignored that last game. But this ain't the same defense you ran into the past week. There are ways, man. There are just ways to get these things rolling. And I think the Vikings had some success under center. I think you'll see here in a few, the Titans had immense success when they got under center. Play action works a whole lot, because these guys, they just want to create a bunch of space in their zone, and they're giving you that opportunity. It's up to you, really, to take advantage of it. And here's one of the deep passes, right? You want to get Brandon Cooks going deep, get under center, run play action, get your 5 to 7 step drops, and launch that thing. Not shotgun, rolling to the left and trying to throw off platform. Nah, get back under center and do that. If you go look at the Vikings tape, and really it's most teams that do this. I'm just shocked we don't. Most teams, when they run their play action and they get these big plays, it's off of play action deep drops, not play action rolling and cutting the field in half. It's play action, 5-7 step drops, and let's get some concepts intermediate and deep. We don't seem to do that on a frequent basis. I was having this conversation in the Illuminati chat. I said, look, I'm not out on having a West Coast foundation, but we need to modernize it. And it was hard to get it was really, really hard to get a feel of what was going on due to the weirdness of the start of the season. But this game showed me we have not modernized it. And I was saying this, I said, when I go and look at, when I was watching this game, watching the Vikings, I'm like, honestly, this is the concepts we need to be running. These are it. Heavy play action team, heavy under center. Actually, the only team going into week 5 that played under center more than Cowboys were the Vikings. And the reason why they do it is because they're heavy on play action. And when they do play action, they're not doing play action to cut the field in half. They're doing play action to drop back deep into the pocket and allow these routes to develop like this and hit guys on deep overs. And they have concepts that create conflict. It's all in the wheelhouse. We've seen Schottenheimer do this before. This isn't nothing new. But you got to start doing those things. Now, they got some guys on the edge, right? Bosa and Mack. I don't think Bosa will play. I mean, things can change, but according to right now, seems like he's doubtful. So you got to worry about Khalil Mack. And they like to get some stunts going with their edge guys to get Khalil Mack free or to get him one-on-one with your tackle. So this is going to be another game where a lot of the times Khalil is playing on that Terrence Steele side, right? Now, look, Mack is not Nick Bosa, but this is still a dangerous pass rusher if you allow him. He's going to try to beat you with a whole lot of power. Not the most nuanced guy, I think, as a rusher. But, hey, man, when you're just powerful the way you are and you're not good at rushing the passer, it doesn't really matter for nuance all the time. So, Steele's going to have to be on his game. I think he had one of his worst games in quite some time on Sunday. Allowed 8 pressures in that game, y'all. Wasn't fun. 8 pressures in that game. A lot of those pressures move the pocket where you don't want that to happen because this offense is a timing-based offense that, at least in that game, didn't really provide backside opportunities. If you go look at the biggest play in the game from a passing standpoint, it didn't come from the structure of the offense. It came from Dak Prescott escaping pressure and a scramble drill. When you watch the tape and you look at, hey, did we create a ton of separation within the offense that creates big plays? No, absolutely not. Did you might have had somebody on a mirrored route on the opposite side for a 3-yard slant? Yeah. There was one play where on the interception, and this goes back to my other issue with Dak. When I come out there to line of scrimmage, and I know I think it was twins to the right, and it was like a 2x2 set or 3x2 depending on where they put the line or the running back at. My opinion, I'm looking for where is CeeDee Lamb? Okay, there's CeeDee Lamb. What is the route he's running? Is this route combination going to get CeeDee Lamb open? Then damn what the play call is if it's supposed to go to the other side. I am going to spam my best player. Instead, and I think it was Kurt Warner who broke it down. Maybe we'll take a look at it if y'all want. Instead, they ran the double slant, which was they didn't run it correctly. And this is why I love listening to Kurt Warner's breakdowns. You learn some things about the depth of these slants and whatnot. Again, go check it out on YouTube if you want. But they ran this double slant earlier in the game, and we had to dump it off opposite because they didn't run it correctly and it didn't distract the middle linebacker for the read. And this is a timing-based offense. Second time came around, they did the same exact thing. They didn't run the double slant correctly. You didn't pull the linebacker, and it was 1, 2, 3, let it go. And what happens? 48 just says, I'm going to break on this. I got inside help. Boom, pick. Where at that point in time, I'm not even looking over there. Why are we even looking over there? CeeDee Lamb's here. I know it was a bit of a triangle style type of defense on that side where it was 2 versus 3, but the way the concept went, and it was still another short route, but it was better, in my opinion, look that way. So I'm spamming CeeDee in this game. I'm sorry. They're dead last in pass offense. You had a conversation with CeeDee Lamb, says Mike McCarthy, right? We know there's frustration there. It's been brought up to Jerry. In a similar fashion, Michael Gallup, when we were wondering what the hell is going on with Gallup, next thing you know, he comes out and he gets spammed. I would do the same thing, except for this is a better player. And again, it's not like you haven't done this before. It's not like he didn't have 13 targets on 11 receptions against a really good defense. And the way they used him was different. I mean, we showed this yesterday. If for those who weren't here, I'll show it again. Honest question. All biased and emotions and hate aside for what happened on Sunday, just ask yourself, have you seen these combinations run in that game? I get it. We are emotional. We are pissed off. We are frustrated fan base right now. That's what Monday's for. Tuesday's for looking at the film. Did you see these concepts run against the San Francisco 49ers? Once again, 3.7 yards route 3.7 yards per route run in this game, all the way down to 1.8. 1.8 against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to let this continue to play. You know? Dak was terrible in the second half specifically, right? When you got down 3 scores and he started throwing the interceptions, honestly, that didn't bother me as much as missing opportunities earlier in the game and maybe changing some things up when these things weren't working, right? But ask yourself, did you see these concepts in that game? The easy buttons. Getting CeeDee Lamb in the middle of the field and not as a decoy, not as a clear out guy. I promise y'all, aside from the Kevontae Turpin play, who was the other one? Jake Ferguson, whip route, fantastic route, Jake. Gotta get him more involved. There wasn't a successful pass play within the structure of the offense. Not one. All the ones where we were like, hey man, Dak could have did this over here, they were on scramble drills. The biggest one was the one where you took the shot to Brandon Cooks. But bro, what are you doing? You ain't that type of quarterback to even attempt that play. There are only but like 3 of them. And that ain't you. And you had CeeDee Lamb coming across the field. He probably didn't see him because he's trying to make that throw to Brandon Cooks. But that's on the scramble drill. Find me all these plays within the structure of the offense where these guys were just wide the hell open downfield or deep intermediate or anything like that. There weren't. It's 1, 2, 3, get it out. That's all fine and dandy against a terrible team. But against a good team, you need to have a better plan. And this plan was a good plan to me. This plan against the Jets was a good plan. I didn't come on here and just say, oh, man, it was all one person. No, this was a beautifully schemed game plan in this game. And I love seeing beautifully schemed game plans. You know how? You know how I know this? Because I watched the 49ers destroy us with a beautifully schemed game plan. No wide receiver on the Cowboys in that game had over 2.5 yards separation. The 49ers, all of them had like 5+ yards of separation in that game. And a lot of it was because I was schemed. So when I go and watch the Chargers defense, and you saw some of it mostly was running, there's a lot of opportunity to get back into the saddle of doing the things that worked for you earlier in the season and having some success and bouncing back. Now, again, that's just one game, and we got to get to that game, and you got to actually perform. It won't erase what happened Sunday at all. It's going to take a whole lot to do that throughout the season. But again, you do have to move on, right? Like, the season is not, it's week 5, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of the fans, or I'm gonna say this, a lot of people that watch these type of shows, they want you to like hark on one thing every time. That's just not going to happen, whether we win or lose. It's just not going to happen, especially when we got to keep moving forward. If you're looking for a program that harps on one thing 5 days a week, man, there's plenty of those on national TV. The Cowboys actually play a game. They're not going to quit. I think somebody on Twitter was like, I was breaking down the team. I do that all the time. Every Tuesday and Wednesday, I talk about whatever part of the offense or defense I'm watching for the upcoming game. And he basically was like, oh, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, they should just quit. Hey, just give up. Just quit. That's not the case, man. It was week 5. It's week 6 now. So we have to figure out, okay, next man up, next matchup is up. What do we have to do to get that victory? And that's what this is for. With that said, I know that's not what's about to happen on these phones, though. But that's cool. That's cool because y'all ain't get a chance to talk yesterday. Some of y'all got a chance to talk Monday. So I know what we finna get into. So I ain't going to trip. The floor is yours. Go ahead, Los.
Yo, good morning, Sky, man. Hey, real quick, man. How about them Rangers, man?
Shouts out to
I'm
him.
elated, man. Hey, real quickly, I know we're talking about football here, but real quickly about this baseball team is we're here early, man. Like knowing about this baseball team is we have struggled. Like we were like 100-loss team like last year's guy. To see them at this moment, once again, it took 12 years, but man, I'm just elated. And it seems like all these DFW teams are making the conference championship game, except our Cowboys. So I don't know, man. They need to get their shit together. I'm sorry if I cuss, but man, back to this football game, man. Like, did I expect us to win this week? Last week, actually, Sky. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even. I gave the Cowboys an L. I'm gonna be honest. And when I tell my friend like, man, why so much negativity? It's because I mean, when have we ever schemed something out for the Cowboys to actually beat the 49ers, correct?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems like whenever the 49ers have our number, they just know how we scheme. And everything else is mostly just everything else. And like sorry if I'm saying it, but like sorry. But I think it's because sorry if I'm starting. It's because I have this traffic up ahead of me. But
it's cool, man. Get through it. You got to get through it.
Yeah, this Dak thing and this coaching thing has to be fixed. Like, it's clearly out here that we don't have a scheme, or we're not doing anything to
we got
help
a scheme.
our quarterback or our receivers. Right?
We have a scheme.
And
the scheme ain't working, or ain't working against that team.
Yeah, But I mean, I don't know, man. It seems like this scheme ain't working, like you said. But we just gotta change it, and we don't help Dak, and we don't help ourselves because I'm gonna be honest. This whole notion of this defense didn't do their job against this 49ers, that can be said, but we didn't help them neither by this going 3-and-out, 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 punt, 3-and-out. You ain't helping your defense by letting them stay on the field any better. So let's just hope to God
Yeah,
they
but
can fix this because
what we're not going to do is
Go ahead.
what we not going to do is devoid them of their accountability too. They got outclassed in that game.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
what we're
and
not
that-
going to do.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, everyone got a piece of the pie on that. You know, you got some, Capper got some, everyone got some. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to be the silver lining. Is just there's things that can be improved, that can be dictating, that can be different to the game, and we'll see it this week. I do expect a better offense and a better defense this week,
100%.
especially from this defensive part, because I know Micah's still, salty about what Kittle and everything. But hey, like Kittle said, it was already personal in the first place. So y'all gotta, just wake up, man. I'm not trying to cuss again, but yeah, y'all just gotta wake up.
All right.
Peace out.
Appreciate you, Los. Let's get this. Okay, we'll switch here. I was gonna get James. I got you, Jamal, not James. Jamal, but I want to talk to B-Bird. What's good, B-Bird?
Hey, what's up, Scott? I want to summarize last game by quoting one of our modern day philosophers. Everybody got to play until you get punched in the mouth. And so, those boys got punched in the mouth from Jump Street, and they had that look in their eyes, man. And they never really recovered from that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I was going to tell you is this. While I was listening to your show, San Francisco benched Alex Smith and started Kaepernick and kept him starting. They benched the first-round draft pick, Trey Lance, and then put Brock Purdy in. They signed Josh Norman and had him inactive for the playoffs for a rookie because the rookie was playing better. The Cowboys kept LVE, didn't get Wagner, and they kept playing a hurt Zeke over Pollard. And so what I'm saying is, you have one organization that's just about football, man. They're just about, hey, if you are better than this guy, you're going to play. Then you got another organization that's like, okay, well, we paid this guy, well, we drafted this guy, well, we have to – it's too many variables that's not related to football that gets people on the field. And so when you compare these two organizations from the top, it's all about football. I mean, you got a general manager
Totally
as a football
different,
player,
yeah.
and you got a second generation coach. It's all about football. Whereas in our organization, we got other factors that allow people to get on the field, man. So I mean, when you want to know the difference between organizations, that's part of it right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, your specific examples. I still don't understand why you don't go get a Wagner, but it's not a time for LVE because LVE, he's one of the guys that at least tried in that game, right, and made some plays defensively. But now look, we knew coming in, LVE was an injury away, like a hit away, because that's just how it is. But yeah, I mean, it goes back to even when Dono couldn't get on the field because they were playing. What's his name? Thompson, Darius Thompson. That's another key. That's another one. I don't understand it. I thought they kind of broke that a little bit here, but we'll see. There's still a lot more to go. But yeah, that organization obviously is run better from top to bottom for a number of different reasons.
And I want to not give them so much credit because what it is this: the coach and the general manager, and I've said this before, and I'm sorry to have to repeat this. They got to keep their jobs, man.
Yep.
So it doesn't behoove them to play politics. It behooves me to get the best players on the field. And so I don't have an infinite amount of time here. Like if I don't get this thing turned around in 2 or 3 years and we winning, they're going to fire me.
Yep.
And so what I'm trying to say is they're not being altruistic, whereas they're just doing the right thing because this is football. No, some of this is survival, man. And so when you look at our organization, our guys that make those decisions, they don't have those issues.
Now, with all that said, B-Bird, because you're absolutely right. In the offseason, when they did acquire all these guys, there was a different feel to that. Now, it wasn't a survival feel.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I agree with you there. There wasn't a survival tactic to it. I just think it was okay, we can't continue to keep doing what we were doing, knowing what we're going to be running up against. So I do think there was we have to do something. And they did do something. And we applauded them for that.
Emergency.
Right? Like, we applauded them for that because they finally said, okay, we can't continue. It wasn't because, hey, I'm going to lose my job. So I agree with you there. There is no sense of if I don't get this done, I lose my job type situation. Not at all. So they did attempt in the offseason, right? They did make all the necessary moves and whatnot. And it was supposed to lead up to this game. The first 4 games, look, we figured we were going to come out of that 4-0, 3-1 at the very least, right? We knew that. This was the game we were supposed to see it, and we did not. And that's why I said coming out of this, I got questions from top to bottom, whether it be from front office to head coach to quarterback. I got questions coming out of that game because that's the litmus test. That is it. If you cannot beat them, you're realistically not going to get to where you need to get to.
Absolutely. So you had talked about CeeDee Lamb and his frustration, and
Sure.
I would go back to something that we discussed before. I honestly feel that in Amari's last year, they under-targeted him purposely.
Oh, yeah.
Because they knew they was going to let him. They was going to let him go in the offseason. And it's the part about it is you can't have a guy catching 111 balls, 12 touchdowns for 1,400 yards, and then
And get him for
go.
a discount.
But what you can't
get him for a discount.
So what you can, yes. And so what you can do is you can lower his numbers because you want to cut him or trade him in the offseason, and then now it's more palpable for the fans because they say, well, yeah, he ain't worth that amount of money. He only caught 80 balls. But again, context matters. He also got a lot less targets. And so, but people didn't really look at that. And so going to CeeDee, do you think that they're kind of doing that with him now, or you think it's just a product of this offense? I mean, because no wide receivers are catching the ball, to be totally honest with you.
No. If you could look at my opening monologue about this whole thing, we went on for about half hour. I said, look, I hate to talk about this. Everything we're talking about right now, I hate to talk about during the regular season. I hate it because this is an off-season conversation. You know what I'm saying? We got ball. We need to figure out how the hell we're going to win on Sunday. This is off-season stuff. But when he came up and he said, "Oh, 5 to 7 targets is fine for these wide receivers," I like to see the ball go to Turpin. I like to see the ball go to these tight ends. I like to see the ball continue to be spread around. That concerns me. And this is why it concerns me. Part of it is a conspiratorial thing, right? The whole, hey, maybe they're trying to dwindle his numbers so that they can have the discount in the negotiations. And that is a fair thought because we all thought that might be a similar case before. But what concerns me about it the most is that we know for a fact, B-Bird, that he's went into these meetings and has dictated where these balls should be going.
Absolutely.
That concerns me, and that's why I think it matters during the season because when McCarthy says, a couple of his quotes were, no one wants him to touch the ball more than I do. Well, you're the play caller. Why? What are you talking about? You're the guy that can dictate that.
This is not last year.
And then he said, we're having these same conversations. Who? It's the buck stops with you. Who's we? Right? And then he said, we can do more to create opportunities. Do it. What's happening, man? Are you? I'm not ready to quite say the unsullied situation with him because I felt like maybe he wasn't anymore. But a lot of people definitely on Twitter believe that a lot of things come from the higher ups, and for most cases that's very true. I don't want this to be the case, but when that guy comes out and says, "Oh no, 5 to 7 targets is enough. I want to see the ball go to the tight ends too." What? The hell are you talking about, man? CeeDee Lamb is one of your best weapons, and you're okay with the way he's being used the last couple games? I don't like it.
So Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, those guys aren't having these issues, right? So the teams, they figure out how to get, hey, this is one of our best players. We got to get him the ball. So one of the things I want to ask you too, man, is just 2 things, and I'll get out of here. Do you think the Cowboys are being overly conservative to minimize turnovers as far as interceptions are?
100%.
It's not dynamic at all.
100%.
Not dynamic at all, man.
Like what pisses me off about it is they are totally overreacting to last year's interception rate and ignoring the steps that he actually took, I think, as a quarterback, as a passer, talking about Dak Prescott. And also completely ignoring the fact that just one previous year removed was 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. You don't have to overcorrect yourself to this manner. And this is flat out the facts. This is what Mike McCarthy came out and said yesterday. And it was something that I didn't necessarily want to believe would be the case because we had a weird start to the season, right? 3 out of the 4 games were blowouts. So it was like, we don't really know just yet. But this game shows me, and then your response shows me, you are 100% nerfing this offense because you're afraid of freaking turnovers. I said this before, and this is why I didn't agree with the person that said this. They're like, hey, man, I'll take a 20 touchdown, 6 interception year from Dak Prescott. And I'm like, no, I would rather take that 40 touchdown, 12 interception year any day.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Any day, because we're scoring a whole lot more here. So I'm not bad for yelling. I'm not yelling at you, B-Bird, but
I get you.
it is frustrating. Because this was the game where you had the opportunity to work within that offense, right, and do some different things to still be have high value targets without putting the ball at risk too much. But then there's going to be times where you have to, and by design, we just weren't doing that. So he was doing that within the short area of the field, and it just was ugly. So yeah, they're absolutely nerfing it, and they're overcorrecting themselves, and I think it's a huge mistake.
And the thing about that is that for 75% of the teams we play against, that will be successful.
Yep.
But playoff teams such as Philadelphia, San Francisco, it just ain't going to work. You got to actually, play offense and play quarterback in that position.
Yep.
And in those games, man. And so if you want to get to where you're going to get to, you got to open this offense up. And I'm going to ask you this and I'll get out of here. Man, why don't we – what I'm seeing in the league is, man, a lot of teams give a lot of eye candy, shifting, and motion this way, running back that way. Giving the defense something to think about, man. I mean, we don't do any of that, and we definitely didn't do it last game. Could you speak on that a little bit, man? Because I think that's where the new offenses are going. You got to be able to show them something and take it away and fake something here and go back that way. And I just kind of want to hear you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we went in depth.
I'll let you later, man.
I appreciate you, Bert. We went in depth on that yesterday when we broke down the film with Okoye. I've been advocating for that for quite some time, and what frustrates me is that we saw some of that early in the season, but it has continued to dwindle, right? It's just getting worse and worse. We went from, okay, we could do a little bit more pre-snap motion, but we're doing something. Okay, we could do a little bit more at snap motion, but we're doing something. So it's just gone. And that's the modernization part of it that I talk about. That's the kind of nuanced part of it that we talk about. That, again, this conversation is not going to be for everybody because people aren't going to care about that. But you can't possibly put on this film, definitely this game. If you want to see a contrast of these two teams and where they are offensively from a schematic standpoint and how they make things so goddamn easy for everybody, just go watch the 49ers. I promise you, you'll come away and you'll say, shit, can I get some of that? Like, then we come into the season and say, hey, man, more easy buttons. How many screens we won yesterday on Sunday? How much pre-snap motion, post-snap action did we see? I know in that touchdown we did. Yeah, it's this is the new game, man. The new game in the NFL, and you can still have West Coast principles. You can still have that. But what you can't do is have West Coast principles from 1990 and not modernize it. Not at all, man. Especially with Dak, in my opinion, because Dak is going to play within the system. This is not a guy who's going to go outside the system. He's just not. And you see it in the game. It's very, very robotic. It's 1, 2, 3. It's supposed to go on the slant. I'm going to throw the slant. You got to win. You didn't. 1, 2, 3. It's not there. Hitch this way. Dump it off. That's fine for the most part, like you said, against 75% of these teams. Against that team, you have to have a better plan, bro. Because Dak is not like that. I've been saying this for like the last 3 years. As much as I like the dude, this isn't a quarterback that I want to throw the ball 40 times a game and just say, hey, we're just gonna go out there. We don't care about the run. We're running 8 times, and just throw the rock. Pre-snap eye candy, scheming things. Nope, don't worry about it. You just go out there and you make sure you make all the correct tight window throws and every read perfect on every play. That ain't the cue, man. This ain't Peyton. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Dan Marino. This ain't those. He's not like that type of guy. Not at all. There are not many that are. But he ain't the one. So you need to make sure that you have a solid plan around him. But if you're going to say, hey, Scott, this is what we're going to do with Dak today. We're going to run the ball 8 times to Tony. And we're going to running out of shotgun. We're not going to do much play action. Not much passing concepts beyond that, beyond the 5-yard line of scrimmage. Just need him to go drop back and dot up the best defense in the league. Well, are you at least going to give me some rubber routes, or is it going to be like pre-semi? No. We're not going to do that. Oh, we're going to lose. Like, bro, look, I like that 100%. But if you tell me that before the game, I will straight tell you we're going to lose. Sorry, Tad. But that's just the facts. It's the facts, man. My bad, Jamal. I almost forgot about you. What's up, man?
What's up, my guy? I called in Sunday night on Vach's show. He cut it short because we were getting at it in the in the chat.
Yeah,
but anyway, man.
Yeah, that had to be a rough Sunday. I'm surprised he even took calls on Sunday.
He didn't take no calls, man. Like he opened the lines, but I think he heard the arguing in the chat while people were waiting because the line wasn't muted quite yet. You know how when you call in and the chat is open.
I got you.
So people were cross chatting, and there's one of the dudes that really he's just in there running his mouth, talking in circles about Dak needing this, Dak needing that. I just think with Dak, I think we've seen his ceiling.
Sure.
And with that being said, I think Dak needs to go have a conversation with one of these 3 quarterbacks: Trent Dilfer, Joe Flacco, Brad Johnson.
What?
All 3 quarterbacks, just hear me out on this. All 3 of these quarterbacks won Super Bowls. All 3 of these quarterbacks won Super Bowls with phenomenal defenses, not putting their defenses in horrible situations.
Jamal.
No, hear me out, bro. Just hear me out. Please just hear me out. I just feel like...
Get to it, because I'm about to shut it all down, but get to it.
I feel like Dak is getting, like you said, too robotic, because when I go back and look at the film of the 49er game, his last 2 interceptions was him. I really feel like Cuz was just out there going through the motions.
What was the score when that happened? What was the score when that happened?
I know that.
Well,
bro,
no. I'm answering my question. What was the score when the first interception took place?
I believe it was like 28. At that point, the second interception, it was 28. It was 28-10.
First interception was 28-10. Okay.
You sure?
Yes, I'm positive. So, 28-10. How did we get there? How did those 28 points miraculously pop on the board?
I'm getting there, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to reach my points. I'm trying to reach. I know you frustrated. I'm just as frustrated as you because I feel like.
Go.
I feel like Dak is just trying to do. I feel like he's trying to do too much, man. In a conservative.
Are you listening to anything that I'm saying, Jamal? Are you listening? He's not trying to do too much. That's kind of the problem. I would love for him to break out of this crap and do too much. I would love for him to go back to what was happening last year, where he's like, man, screw this. We taking these shots deep down the middle, and we're going to try to make something happen. You can't possibly be listening, Jamal. When I say he's robotic, I mean he's being robotic within the system that is not allowing him to do extra. The whole scheme is so that he cannot do extra, Jamal. What are you watching?
I'm watching him pump. I'm talking about mentally, bro. Like, he's trying to get the big play. Like, he wants the big play to be there. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, he's doing too much thinking, bro. And there's not a lot of thinking to do in this system. And
he's not like you. I'm sorry. All right, I got to end it. Not end the call. I got to end what you're saying because you're wrong. You're just absolutely unequivocally wrong. I don't think you understand what you're seeing. And I hate to be this direct, Jamal. I'm not trying to like be disrespectful to you. But when somebody's wrong, they're wrong. There is absolutely not much thinking going on in this offense because it's 1, 2, 3, go. When you see him hitch, it's called a hitch. When you see him hitch, that's part of the system. 1, 2, 3, it's not there, so I have to hitch and go to the next guy with my feet. I'm not sure if you're paying attention to this offense, number one. Number two,
so he was hitching
let's go back.
He was hitching that whole way into that sack.
What's that? Which one? The one where Fred Warner?
No, it was the one with old boy 57 Greenlaw. That's what I'm saying. Like when he's getting out of the pocket.
All right. So let me go back to your original point, which started this whole ridiculous rant. You said he needs to talk to Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, and somebody else. I'm assuming you're
Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Their defense wasn't historic when they won. Their defense was good, but it wasn't historic. But Brad Johnson and Joe, let's say Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer, sir. Be real, okay? Be the hell real with yourself right now. Do you see Wait, I'm asking a question. I didn't even get to it. Be real with yourself. When I ask this question, do you think the Cowboys defense is even remotely close to those teams right now?
At this point, without 7, no. Hell no. Without 7. And I'm gonna be honest, because you can't. That D line didn't do their job for the 4 quarters that they should have done their job. Like, it's not. I'm not saying that this loss is all on Dallas. This is all on Dak. This loss is
forget
on
the loss.
Hey,
all right. Let's end the conversation about the San Fran game. You came on this call and you said he needs to talk to Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson about how to operate, and I guess with a team that has a historic defense. And I asked you the simple question: is this defense all-time generationally historic like those two?
No.
And the answer is no. So why in the hell should he go talk to two of the worst quarterbacks outside of those years?
Bro, it was a simple opinion, man. And it's just as simple as this.
Hey, and Jamal, if you've been listening to my show, you know damn well I'm going to push back. So if you can call it a simple opinion, but I'm going to debate, man. That just is what it is. If I disagree with it, you're going to hear it. If y'all don't like it, that's fine.
Both of them are Super Bowl champs. That's why I said that. Like, the one thing that you can get from, like, a lot of people don't think you can learn something from everybody, bro. And I feel like you can.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, as a person that's overcome quite a bit of adversity myself, including what I'm dealing with now, I'm one of those people that feels like you can learn something from everybody. A lot of people feel like you can't learn something from Flavor Flav. You probably could. But a simple conversation is what opens the door for a lot of things, bro. Like, just having a conversation with a former Super Bowl winning quarterback, no matter if he was MVP or not, is a simple conversation on how to get.
I'm gonna let you live.
How to base it.
I'm gonna let you live, Jamal, because your premise that's not wrong. If he needs to go, if you're saying go talk to a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and I'm gonna say this respectfully, there are a whole lot of other guys to go talk to. But I get what you're saying. Go talk to the worst ones to ever win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I feel you. Appreciate you, Jamal.
I mean, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I promise you. That's what I'm getting at, because all I'm hearing right now is everybody saying Dak is ass. Old boy Shady bought that back out.
I gotta let you go, Jamal.
I'm gonna end with.
Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and end with this. Remember the last 2 seasons how they started. Dallas lost to Tampa Bay, and everybody thought we were inferior to Tampa Bay.
Sure.
So those two losses happened. Dallas came back and won that third meeting in the playoffs. I feel as if these two teams meet in the playoffs, with Dallas getting their shit together. I mean, take into account that Dallas gets their shit together as a team. I feel like if we were to meet with them again this season, we would beat them just based off of. I mean, just kind of that history, man. I mean, we lose the first 2 games to Tampa Bay. We come back in the playoffs and send Brady off into retirement. I know that everybody is looking at San Francisco as the big bad wolf, and as they are. But you're really in week 5 of this young season, and we're shitting on a team over this game.
I agree with that part. Right, it's week 5. You definitely everything you want to do is in front of you, for sure. Everything you want to do is in front of you. So there's no need to give up on the season. Not at all.
That's why I say, if they were to meet San Fran in the playoffs after this week 5 loss, knowing how the season ended for them with San Fran, knowing how the season has gone this season with this loss to San Fran.
That's what I'm saying, George. Yeah, I'm not ready to go that far just yet. I mean, I just don't know how after 42-10, 3 days later, we're saying they're going to beat San Fran in the playoffs. Like, there's a lot that has to happen.
I didn't say they would beat them.
I thought that's what you said. Oh yeah, there's any given Sunday. Absolutely, Jamal. Any given Sunday, somebody can lose. But I thought
I
you
mean, I
said they
didn't
will
see
be.
42-10. None of us saw 42-10 coming either.
Yeah.
None of us can sit up here and act like
Jamal,
we saw 42-10 coming. I'm here.
No, I know, but you said in closing. But I appreciate the call, Jamal.
No, it's just.
That's why sometimes I just need to not do phones. Y'all ain't gotta lie, man. Like you ain't gotta lie. Oh yeah, that's what I meant. I need to talk to Trent Dilfer because they won Super Bowls. That's not what the hell you. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to be angry, Sky, but just don't fake the funk with me. You bring up those two dudes because you're assuming that the Cowboys have that type of defense. They don't. And these are the guys you got to talk to just go along for the ride. If the whole point of just go talk to a quarterback that won the Super Bowl, you got Troy Aikman in your backyard. The hell I'm going to talk to Trent Dilfer for? And I know a lot of people just don't like how it is what it is, man. But you know what you get into when you call here. I'm gonna let the craziness fly. Marcus, what's up, man? Trent Dilfer, Brad John. Are you goddamn kidding me, man? Troy Aikman is right there in your backyard.
Good morning, man. Good morning.
Let me go talk
Good morning,
to Trent.
man. How you doing, sir?
What's
How
up,
we
bro?
doing? Have we nipped our wounds? Are we all over ourselves yet, or do we need another day or so? Man, hey, let me say the premise, as you pointed out, the premise for that guy's calling, he's got a right to his opinion.
I got a right to go in on it if it's crazy. So.
Yeah. And again, you're better off being candid than you are trying to be coy. Because see, when you want to say Dak is not good enough,
that's a bar, bro.
Yeah. Well, to me, again, I prefer candor. I prefer candor to cute. Yep. To a whole lot of convoluted.
All that coy shit don't work with me, bro. I ain't doing it.
Yeah, it don't work. I know it don't work with you. That's why you're frustrated, man. Just say
what you got to say.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
Just say that, because see, that makes more sense. That helps you get to your point rather than say Dak can learn something from anybody. Man, that's beside the point that you're trying to make when you say Dak can learn something from Trent Dilfer. All Dak can learn from Trent Dilfer is not being Trent Dilfer.
Facts.
All right?
Facts.
This is not the year 2000 in the NFL. You are not winning the football, turning around, handing it off. Okay? This is a quarterback league. And it's about the decisions and the plays that the quarterback makes because it's a quarterback-driven league. Defenses aren't winning championships anymore. Defenses can protect leads for you. They can manage to keep the score relatively close, keep points relatively down. Good defenses, even great ones, you might say, in this day and age, will keep the score between 17 to 22, 23, 24 points and give you chances to win if you got a competent enough offense and a quarterback.
That's kind of fair.
You're not winning. The last time anybody won a Super Bowl, Bill Belichick beat the Rams, when was that, 2018? And held them to 13 points. But again, that was kind of fluky because Belichick exposed that McVay was a one-trick pony. And you ain't see that was 8 years ago. You're not gonna see that happen. Your quarterback has to be playing at a high level, and to do that, you better have a pretty good and effective offensive system. Yeah. Okay. So sneak this and that. You ain't got to do that. I'd rather you say Dak played like ass than say Dak can learn something from Trent Dilfer. He can't. Like you say, you got Troy Aikman sitting over there. Troy Aikman been riding for Dak since Dak got here. If Dak want to learn how to process or whatever he needs to learn, man, learn from the best. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to be the best, learn from the best. All right? What you gonna ask Flavor Flav that's gonna help you on the football field? Come on, man. Come on, man. We all frustrated. I'm frustrated. Trust me. If anybody got to come down off the track, it's me. All right, because I expected a whole lot more from them. As much as I've been out here hollering about Mike McCarthy this and the offense needs, as much as I was up for that, and for them to, like you say, to not even be consistent. You just played a good defense in the Jets, a defense in some ways similar to San Francisco, and you kind of going away from things. That's why I say I didn't like that whole thing about them talking about, well, we're going to keep 70% of the old offense and just put 30% in. No, man, because what you're going to do is you're going to keep the same habits.
I can tell you right now.
If you do that.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's all that is. Look, I ride with Dak, but I put a lot of responsibility on Dak for this simple reason. I'm gone. Dak needs to understand who he is as a quarterback and what he does best. He needs to do that, and he needs to step up in some of these meeting rooms and in some of these game plans and say that.
A to Z Sports Live with Cowboys Nation.
Under center. Yeah, he plays terrific under center with play action. That ain't necessarily about how good the running game is. That's about how good he is with that element of the game going on. Yeah. Right? So that's what they need to do. They need to figure out offensively who they are. And they need to figure out who their playmakers are and how to get them the ball. And the hell with whatever Jerry Jones is saying about that. I'm out, Sky.
Peace. You know the term, you've lost the locker room? I've lost control of the show. It's gone. It's gone. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. I mean, y'all don't like me for real. Y'all don't with me for real. I don't give a damn what you got to say on your show, Sky. Loss said, I don't see how you do it. Loss, I want to give y'all your voices, right? Like I'm not trying to turn into that content creator, but I can't fake the funk to myself. You know, if I hear something, disagree with that guy, you know, but boy, Princess said one call a day. Y'all drive me crazy. Hey, Mike. Hey, yeah. I mean, I think you just. I'm a very passionate person. Is there a little bit of entertainment factor to this? Sure. I can't make this thing boring, but I am a very passionate person. I like to use the word passionate. Definitely about the squad, you know. And I know a lot of people don't like it. That's cool. That's cool. But there's people who understand what they're getting into when they call into this thing. I know that, Jackie. I'm also learning that. You can't please everyone. That's something I talked to Brian about that. I said, man, look, I gotta learn in this industry. You cannot please everybody. With that said, we gonna talk to Marv. Y'all know what that means. Hey, Rohit said I'm too nice. Hey, Rohit, a lot of people would not agree with that. They would not agree with that. They would not agree with that. Hey, what's up, Marv? What's on your mind, man?
Oh, man, I'm just listening to your shows every day. You and Box, everybody. Well, I like that breakdown you just did. And that's why I was so frustrated. We just played the Jets. We got the same defense as the 49ers. And I was so excited. And you just showed everybody on your show what we should have did. And we ain't come no close to doing it. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Man, that was tough.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough, Mark, because I didn't think they were going to walk in there like that. Like I said a while ago, if you would have told me, hey, Sky, coming out of the game, this is what's going to happen. Like, this is what we're going to do offensively. We're going to run the ball to TP 8 times. We are going to run one screen in the fourth quarter. We are not going to do pre-snap motion or at-snap action. All of our receivers are going to have yards per route run under 2. I'd have looked at you and said, you lying, dog. That ain't going to happen. Nah, Sky, that's what's going to happen. What you think are we going to win? I'd have said no. So I was surprised. I did not expect that type of outcome, and it was ugly, man. It was ugly.
And still, and look what you just did. You know what else got me? You know what got me? That what made me got really mad when I was watching the game?
What's that?
they played man on man.
Yeah.
And if you the quarterback, remember he called that last game for Will Greer, Dak Prescott?
You mean preseason? Yes.
So he's not dumb, right?
No.
Okay. If you call, I don't know everybody listening, what I thought Dak was going to do, and Romo used to do this too. Okay, this man, oh man, and McCormick just gave me this play. Oh, hell no, I'm going to change this.
I mean, we took our shots, I think maybe to the wrong people. We took shots down the field to Gallup. He just wasn't getting off the press in that game. I mean, and also, like, this is the other side that we don't do as Cowboy fans normally because it's, definitely after a loss. But hats off to the Niners. Like, I was shocked how well their cornerbacks covered. They weren't doing that, on film. So, hats off to them. Shouts out to them. They came to play. And again, maybe they had a little extra edge because, hey, we beat y'all twice. Where can I find this extra motivation? And they found it. But
they found.
I was a bit shocked in just how tough it was to shake loose in that man coverage. And then also hats off to Fred. Fred pretty much nerfed a lot of things, man. This dude he's a cyborg at the position. But I'm not trying to
study.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not trying to sound like I'm going flip-flopping on Gallup, right? But certain routes I would like to see that go to Tolbert. Right, like let's see if Tolbert can shake at the line of scrimmage. Let's see if he can do some of those slant things too. Like, hey, if it's not your game, it's not your game. The other games were Gallup games. This one just wasn't it. So let's see if we can shake some things. Just like in the touchdown drive, hey, we weren't getting loose with Tony, or we weren't getting loose with CeeDee Lamb, right? So what do? We got Turpin involved. Send him in motion. Yeah. So yeah,
we've been doing that all game. And every time I tell my friends, you going to crack up. I said, oh, no, please don't do it. They said, what? I said, he's going to throw this shit to Gallup. Well, every time somebody's tight on Gallup, it's an interception, y'all. I'm telling you. If Gallup got that man close to Gallup, it's an interception. Because sometimes Gallup have brick hands. I'm telling y'all. If y'all don't see the trend. And, me, because me and you, because you like so shocked. When I talk about Dan Quinn ain't getting away, Scott.
Ooh, that what? I forgot you ain't fool with Dan Quinn. We definitely went back and forth on that one. So
yeah, remember?
Yeah. So okay. So we had a little debate on that one. We were on opposite ends of that. What's your? Because look, I ain't gonna lie to you, Marv. I came out of this game with questions over there too. What's your thoughts on the defense?
I'm gonna tell y'all again. I'm gonna tell you.
Dan Quinn.
And you keep telling everybody we don't have our defense ain't like them other defense.
Dang.
That's why Dak Prescott can't sit back there and have fun no more. Our defense is overrated. He's favoritism playful. They getting that butt kicked. Now, before I get off here, this will be my starting defense. And everybody keep talking about Mozzie. I'm starting Mozzie. I'm starting Big Hangers in the middle. I'm starting 54 on the end. And I'm going to tell 54 on the end, if your dumb ass don't watch your edges, you going on the sideline, bro. Stop trying to do like, be so. I'm like Bill Parcells. I'm finna be like Bill Parcells. If you don't stay in your lane, bro, your ass ain't playing. 90, I ain't worried about you.
So you're Stephen Jones Jr. and Bill Parcells. Got you, Mark.
Yeah. So I'm going to put number 11 got to play linebacker. He played even better in the middle. Let him play. I'm going to have 30 out there, 33, and 30. I told you number 30 could cover. If y'all go back and watch that film, was nobody getting open on him. He was making all the plays. Number one, he's going to the sideline.
He's fantastic. I'm glad you brought that up.
Number one going to the sideline. I'm sorry. Number 28, if you don't, I'm going to make it easy for you. We're going to play, you going to be back there. Number 6, your buck going to be back there. But number 6, I'm going to tell you something. If you ain't ready, bro, don't mess up my team. This is a team game. I ain't worried about 26. I'm not favoritism to you no more. Number 6, I put you in too early against Arizona, and you gave me a shitty game. Number 1, you playing shitty. Damn. So you two guys got to get your butt right. You killing my defense.
Hey, there's a lot of things you said right there that ain't no joke, but go ahead.
And then number 97, you my boy, you coming in on pass downs to get that rush. Because I need a big guy in the middle. We ain't playing no more 4 linebackers so they could kill us. Dan Quinn, get your head out of your ass, bro. You embarrass this team. You are a joke. So anybody come in here trying to take up Dan Quinn, you is stupid. I'm sorry. Dan Quinn is shitty. Your defense is shitty. And if you don't watch it, Kellen Moore going to put 30 on your ass because you playing stupid. I'm playing bump and run. My safety's back there. That way I can get a chance for my people to get you see how far they was playing off the receivers? Man, it was like, me and you could have played. I thought my great-grandmother could have ran around.
Shouts out to your great-grandma.
And one more, McCarthy, get creative. Start putting on I want to see all these fans want to see creative. Start, play the offense you played against the Giants. Play the offense you played against the Jets. Stop bull jiving, bro. You got this fan base mad. This fan base want to win. We don't care if we lose by a field goal or 2, 42-10, bro. Come on, man. We got
this ain't Coach Marv. This is Magic City Marv. But shouts out to the $2 donation. They digging you right now, man.
Yeah, we can't have no more playing around. And I told my San Francisco friend, I said, I hate to say it. I hate this team. I hate them with a passion. But if y'all play the same way y'all did us against Philadelphia, they're going to put 30 on your ass because they already know how to beat you. They beat you over the top last year in the playoff game. And that number 1 that everybody keep thinking he's sorry, he's going to run for at least 50 or 60 yards on you. I wish Dak Prescott ran the ball like
he can't run like that, bro. That's a wrap.
I know. Bro, grandma, that's a wrap. Thank you, Steele. And shout out to the Cowboys.
Thank you, Mark.
Let's do it. This game on Monday night, we got to win.
Can't
lose. Salute.
Salute. Can we get flames for Marv? I mean, at first I was like, what you saying? Then you saying some shit. You right. Some safeties need to step up. I was thinking about this the other day. And we talking about how to get YA on the team or on the field. At this point, I don't give a damn who you take off. One of them 3, start sneaking old boy in there and figuring it out. Yeah. Now the linebacker situation, Clark Marv will obviously be a guy stepping up. Rashaan Evans, breaking news. See if he signs, but he is visiting the Cowboys. One of the guys have been. I thought the Cowboys should have been signing this guy months ago. It is what it is. He'll be here. I think we might like. I think we'll like that combination. We'll see when he gets on the field. What else he's saying? Yes, we didn't do enough press, Marv. 100%. I don't understand why we were dropping back like that, man. Like it was weird. Like you have to be who you are and mix it up. We were afraid to be who we were and was soft. In fact, I think both sides of the ball play with the same type of mentality. Soft. I don't know about starting Mozzie, but I feel you. Mozzie got more snaps in his game. I still think Osa and Hankins make a great starting duo, and then you work in the guys. Everybody got to rotate. Now with Micah, though, potentially playing linebacker, I am with you in bringing in Sam Williams to get going on the edge. So you were saying a lot of things there on that side of the ball. Now, do I say Dan Quinn? Nah, I ain't gonna go that far just yet. But I'm questioning this. I got a lot of questions coming out of this game. I am questioning it. So good stuff, Mar. That was a good call. It's to the point where actually I'm gonna keep going. We kind of went into a little bit of overtime, so I'll keep going. Brandon from Frankly Football. What's up, B?
Man, Marv said, fuck Dan Quinn, fuck that Richie, fuck them sides of the belt.
You definitely I'm out. Yeah, he definitely said everybody hit the bench, man. Marv ain't with it.
Man, how you doing, Sky?
I'm good. I'm good, man. We a bit of overtime now, so what's on your mind?
Well, I'll try to be brief. So here's the thing, Sky, and I kind of talked about this yesterday on Twitter and on my most recent live show on Monday. You know, shameless plug, y'all should check us out. I think we got to check out the best version of Dak in 2019 and the few games that we got to see him in 2020. where he hadn't yet experienced the catastrophic injury to his leg, and he had the ability to, and more importantly, the willingness
to run.
Now, his body, has aged, and he, of course, has the injury to his lower body. The caller, what was his name? That was talking to Trent Dilfer and stuff.
Jamal.
Or something like that. Jamal, there we go. He was talking about Dak going to speak to Trent Dilfer and things like that. I think I don't really put much stock in the quarterback talking to other guys, but if I was to, have Dak talk to another quarterback, it might be somebody like Ben Roethlisberger or Alex Smith or maybe even Donovan McNabb, guys who were mobile, but as they aged,
they weren't like super athletic. Yeah, it's a great point.
Exactly. Their bodies betrayed them to a degree. Because if we have to be honest, that is to an extent where Dak is. Dak looks like he is
who I was
walking through mud to
God rest his soul, who I comp him to especially when he was younger, it was McNair. And he's not here, unfortunately, to talk to, but that'd have been a fantastic guy to talk to, because he wasn't the most super athletic dude, but especially when he got older. He was when he was younger, but he got older. But he still moved around a little bit, and he kind of turned into the same situation where McNair can't run like he used to, but he can scramble a bit. But I love the examples that you use, though.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's sad to say, but we didn't really get to see Dak at his absolute best because of the injury. And as sad as it is, the time doesn't wait for any man.
I'm about to say, we it is what it is. Regardless, you need to figure out how to move forward with what you are now. So, no offense, injury happened. You are who you are now. How do you become better? Because I think he's reached a physical ceiling, but you're always growing mentally as a quarterback. Yeah. That's something that Tony always talked about. Happened with the dude in Detroit, went to the Rams. Like, you're always growing mentally, so you just have to continue to get better mentally as you age. So physically, it's not going to happen. He's just not going to get better physically.
I'm glad that you brought up that point. So for the next 4 months, give or take, because we got to be honest with ourselves. So for the next 4 months, give or take, Dak and Mike McCarthy have to collaborate together in, a cohesive way to, weave themselves a scheme that is going to impress not only Jerry but the fans enough.
Forget impressing.
Make a good playoff run.
Forget it. Yeah, forget impressing. They shouldn't be focused on impressing us. They should be focused on putting together the best plan to beat their opponent that week, right? Yep. Especially when we get to the playoffs. I truly don't care if it looks like 19-16 at the end of the day if you win in the offs, right? Mm-hmm. So they need to take, again, it was a bit shocking, but they need to take what they've done good at the start of the season and add to it, remove the ish that is just not working, right? And I think that's how you grow throughout the season. One of the things we said, and I think we talked about this before, is you want to be peaking later. So if you're not playing your best ball now, well, this is the perfect time to find out what you need to be better at. So by the time we get to week 12, 13, 14, we're not saying the same things like, hey, this offense look weird. Because that's what has happened for the last 4 seasons. We get to the end and we're like, man, this ain't looking right. It's looking weird. If it had to be like this, I'd rather it be this way. Things don't seem right now, or they seem strange, or we're up and down. There's no consistency. And then we find that, and it sails us into a deep playoff run. So a lot of time left in front of us, like you said, 4 months. But these are 4 crucial months because if you don't make that run, then the conversation is going to be had about what to do with these two guys. Talk about Dak and McCarthy.
Absolutely, and I think roughly a quarter point of your season is a great time to be asking these questions, because it's better now than 5 games left in the season. To be asking these points.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like you don't want to be here in week 14 saying, "Hey man, why ain't we doing X, Y, Z?" We've been here before. This is the same. It'll be the same conversation we have had for the last 4 seasons. Why does it look this way heading into the playoffs? We can't have that. We cannot have those same questions. Can't do it.
Absolutely. And, once again, being, totally frank with ourselves, once again, pun on my name, Franklin Football. We have to be honest enough with ourselves to tell ourselves there's 1 year left on Dak's contract. We have a prolific quarterback class coming up, and if we don't get the results that we want, we got to be honest with ourselves looking to the future.
Like I just said, if you don't make a run, you are having that conversation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
Been saying that since in the offseason. If you don't make a run,
yeah.
And it might not be like, oh, we'll just wait an extra year. You might have to rip that Band-Aid off. So
yeah.
Don't
make the decision now. Like I said, you got 4 months.
I can't make the decision now.
If you don't get the results that you want, be prepared to make the uncomfortable decision.
I don't think it's uncomfortable.
And it kind of is what it is
to me. I don't think
to
it's
a lot of fans it is. To a lot of fans it is. Because here's the thing: you got a lot of people that, due to those years between like 2001 and 2008, constantly say, "Well, what better can we get?" Well, look at the Quincy Carter.
Here's the uncomfortable
like
part.
That.
The uncomfortable part is not moving forward. It's who we have in tow that make decisions of what we do next. That's where it gets uncomfortable.
That's called Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. Do you trust the people at the top to do the right thing not the right thing, to make the right selection or choice or whatever? It's already a crapshoot at that position, but when we look at that, we wanted Paxton Lynch's and those guys. That like, hey man, do I want these guys making a decision at that position?
I 100% agree, but that's called Stockholm syndrome. If you're gonna stay with the person who does you wrong, what better are you gonna do?
We had a choice. Where's Jerry going?
Yeah.
Where's Steven going?
You got a choice, man.
You
got a choice. And if you don't get the results that you're looking for, you have the choice.
I think we speaking two different things. I'm saying we ain't got a choice but to be here with the decisions, stick with the decisions that Jerry makes at that position in regards to if they decide to take another player. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying you can move on. You can move on at the position, but do you trust the people to make the right decision, the right choice at a position that's already hard to? We have no choice but to trust them.
I'm picking up.
Yeah. This is the same group that wanted
we don't got
Connor
choice
Cooks and Paxton Lynch and Stephen McGee and all these other dudes prior to wanting, Dak Prescott. So
thankfully they didn't make those decisions though. So to a certain degree,
it wasn't their choice.
To make the right decision.
It wasn't their choice though. Other teams made the decision for them.
Shit, I guess.
No, that's a fact. The Raiders trade up for Connor Cook. The Denver Broncos trade up for Paxton Lynch. Like you could have been dealing with that situation, but I digress.
Yeah. I mean, we just talking in semantics at that point. But
no,
I mean,
talk
at
facts.
the end of the day,
talking facts, bro.
Yeah. If they're picking with a purpose, especially in the earlier rounds, I kind of trust them to make the correct decision at the end of the day.
We'll see if it gets
and I see the guy Mel Hayes in the comment box. He said, "Do I really trust the Cowboys to find a QB in the draft?" I do. I genuinely do, because our team drafts better than, I'll say, roughly 30 teams in this league. A lot of these teams don't draft well. Our team happens to draft very well.
Might be the toughest position to draft.
So you're right.
Hey man, I appreciate your blind optimism to the situation, but I can't say that I completely trust them to. I'll be on pins and needles if that time comes or when that time comes. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I know I can't fake the funk. I'll be a little nervous because
no doubt.
There's an aspect in that room that if by hook or crook he wants that certain player based off of, hey, we can get these jersey sales. This can be, this is the glitz and glammy pick and not the pick that's going to put us in a position. he might pull that damn card, and that makes me nervous. So I appreciate the optimism there, but I do have questions on that. So it'll whenever that time comes, it'll be very, very nerve-wracking. Point blank, period.
I understand that.
Because of the last two quarterbacks you got were a 4th-round pick and an undrafted free agent. Those are your last two, franchise quarterbacks.
I understand that. But before I get out of here, Scott, can I plug myself?
Of course, man.
No doubt. Well, hey, man, my name is Brandon. I'm one half of Frankly Football. You can find me on YouTube and on Twitter under that name. We talk, interesting football conversations just like this about the Dallas Cowboys. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you, B. Tell my guy set it off, Chris. I said, what's goody?
No doubt.
Salute. Hey, we got Foots in the building. What's good, bro? Wait, there we go. What's good, bro?
You know what's crazy, Sky? Oh, how are you, man? How's everything?
Man, I'm good. Just just getting through a crazy ass week.
These are the circumstances that we talk. Our time is draft and Senior Bowl, which I'm actually working some things out to be down at the Senior Bowl this year. So
man, that'd be perfect,
God is
bro.
good on that end. Yeah, I'm actually really making a heavy push and getting my ducks in a row to get down there.
And we got to see if we can get that combine here in Dallas too, because they talking about trying to do something around here with it. So.
That's my Christmas. And I think that Frankly did a good job. But you know what's crazy, Scott? I've been listening to you for the last 3 weeks, bro. You are doing some amazing work. I mean, I always listen to you, but I'm really tapped in.
Appreciate that, bro.
Daily. And you're doing some amazing work. I don't always have to jump on and get on with you and Voch and all that, because at the end of the day,
we talking behind the scenes anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, bro. Anyway. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to Frankly, because he's draft guy, Matt O. I love the draft. That's what I'm a part of. But I still want to be present within this season too. You know what I mean? And the truth is this: you still have a really good football team. You do. And I think what's happened now is we said it, and I wish people could get in on our group chats. I think we've said it.
No, you don't.
This team, you know what? Nah.
Well, you don't want them in that chat, right? But go ahead.
I think, Sky, and I said it about. I really noticed it during the Patriots game, is that McCarthy is calling plays to not throw, for Dak not to throw interception.
Yeah,
it's very obvious, and. The good thing about the San Francisco loss is that if you see them again, I just have a funny feeling that we will. You know that game plan doesn't work. Just scrap whatever you thought was gonna work and whatever game plan you went with. That won't work ever. So don't trying to. And you hear Fred Warner come out and all this stuff. That will not work. Yeah. And
no, not at all, man. And my bad for interrupting you, but that's the part of the game that, and I don't consider anyone here casual, because if you're here, you know how we do. If you support Foots, you know how we do. We break all this down from all angles. But that's the part of the game I don't expect anybody to care about outside of if you're here type of situation. But there's just no way you can pop that on and be like, oh man, what an amazing game plan, and then go look at what the Niners did game plan wise and say the same thing. That ain't the same. That is not the same.
That ain't the same.
Not at all, bro.
And that ain't it. And this is what I want to tell fans. Listen, you're going overtime, Scott. Keep doing what you're doing. This is what I want fans to understand. Guys, I have been watching this team for a long time. We have peaked so early in years that I would rather us be battle tested. I've seen this team just falter in December. It's a new offense. Guys, this is not Madden. This is a new offense. This isn't Madden where you just go out and press and find triangle. No, there's real things that have to go on and real trial and error that has to go on in order for this thing to get worked out. I'm telling you, let it, Mike, listen, what Mike will go in this week and will say, listen, Dak, what are you seeing? What can we do to stress the middle in the deep thirds of the field? That's where he has to attack.
It got to, man.
You have to. And it's literally that simple, Sky.
Huh?
That's it.
you do that. The scheme that you ran with Turpin, that could be Brandon Cooks. You could run that. You could spam that literally because teams don't have the speed. San Fran didn't have the speed, but what they did was sat on everything underneath and robbed you. They basically just used Fred Warner to rob you.
Yep.
That's all they did. They didn't do anything extravagant.
This is what I don't get, Foots. I mean, because correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't recall any other game where we threw, or not even threw, where we ran so many short routes. We spammed it. We spammed quick slants, double slants that were 2 yards off the ball. And I know we think like, oh, well, we took a whole bunch of deep shots. Think about it for a second. You might have took like 2 or 3, and they weren't even within a complex concept. This was just, Brandon Cooks, run down the middle deep. Who was Michael Gallup? Run down deep on a 9 route on the outside. There wasn't, and we talked about this. I can't remember if he was in here. I might even still have to play up here. Let me see if I can find it.
I was in.
Okay, so there wasn't any of the what we call dagger concepts. This ain't what I'm trying to show y'all. This is what I'm trying to show y'all. There was none of that, bro. No deep digs that had somebody going. Get out of here. I don't want to look at you, Lamb. That's what I'm trying to show the people. There was none of these concepts right here that attacked these guys and made them think sometimes. When we ran deep, find me a play. I promise y'all, for those who are saying that all these things might have happened, find me that play where we put them in a blender based off of our scheme. Please. Find all these plays that happened.
There was not one.
Find me a play where you came out and said, man, that's a cool play. Shouts out to my guy, Joey. That's a cool play. I could name you about 10 of them that I watched on the other side of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, Sky, to me, that's what you want, because I think there's been times with this Cowboys team where we didn't get better throughout the year. Like when we had prolific offenses early, what happened is it worked so well that you carried those game plans into the playoffs and you got. So the good thing, and if you have good coaches and if you have guys who care about it, if you have players who care about it, the only good thing that can come from this is they say, you know what, we have to get better. Nobody, I'm draft guy. I don't want to start looking at Drake May and Caleb and all these guys, because at the end of the day, they're going to come in, or whoever you try to think that you're going to bring in, you're still going to have to scheme it up. It still isn't going to be perfect. We're watching Bryce Young struggle. We're watching guys struggle.
Come on,
so,
man.
and I'm draft guy. And I've been hard on Dak, but I also understand, listen, if you're not going to coach it up and you're not going to scheme it up, those guys will struggle.
They don't want to hear that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Hey, Foots, what you just said is so goddamn over their heads right now. That's not what they want to hear, because that's not going to adhere to
Trevor
the fear
Lawrence
mongering.
is struggling, guys. Trevor Lawrence is struggling with Doug Peterson. He's a walking pit. He tried to give the game away against the Bills. They should have won that game by way more than they won it. With weapons. He has 3 good weapons now. Come on.
Bro, I mean, that's...
I just warn people.
I mean, that's real, bro. That's real. Because the conversation you're having is a conversation we normally would have afterwards, right? But because of the situation that happened on Sunday and any loss that really happens, this conversation is going to continue to pop up. Even in wins, it pops up. People want to move on even in wins. But that is such a great point, man. Like, I don't give a damn who you are. You still need to coach it up and scheme it up and against any opponent, but especially against that opponent. Because look, like you said, we like Dak, but he ain't the type to go out there and just dice you up with that game plan. That ain't happening, bro. I don't even know how many quarterbacks could, but he ain't the one. So you better help him out. And you better help these receivers out. Did you hear my stat about the receivers? Yards routes per run, or yards run per route?
Bro,
they were all under 2 yards.
I think everybody's holding on to the separation piece, and I'm with you. I like that stat, Sky, versus the separation stat. The separation stat is kind of the low-hanging, the non, casual fan stat. But at the end of the day, I like what you're saying. These guys aren't even running deep.
They're not pushing it
and
at
that's
all.
The problem.
Not even intermediate, bro. Not even intermediate.
Yeah, not
point. Bro, point. Where's it at? Brandon Cooks, .029.
That can't happen.
That
and
can't.
He's gonna start. He's gonna start talking soon. So you better be. He's one of those ones. And so this is my last point, Scott. And I'm gonna hang up and listen to you. For the life of me, I love Schoonmaker, but I knew
what the hell
game would get when you're attacking and trying to push the ball deep to Schoonmaker on your first drive, like at Michigan. He didn't even do that at Michigan consistently. He was in the box, kind of, use around the goal line. This isn't what that was terrible. That's when I knew the game plan was just throw it away. And so if there's one thing that I want to give to Cowboys fans moving forward, okay, you better make sure that you are tackling better. Because the issue is not – one of the big issues that I have with this game, and everybody's talking about the quarterback and the play call and this, that, and the third, is the box is starting to look a little goofy. And it's not Damone – Clark needs to play better. But now I'm watching Malik Hooker take bad angles. Now I'm watching Dayron Kearse look – Kearse looks kind of old and slow, Scott.
He looked hurt, bro. He hasn't looked the same since he got hurt last year.
He doesn't look good, and they kind of took advantage of Marquise Bell. One play specifically, the touchdown, they got Bell with the deep over to Kittle.
Because Bell ain't no damn linebacker.
He's not a linebacker.
I just don't understand.
And I'll eat that crow. I'll eat that crow because I thought that you could put him there. So I got
in spots, right? Like you could do the big nickel situation, but asking him to do linebacker things, man, where that's not his position against a nuanced coordinator like Shanahan. Oh boy, he's gonna take advantage of your ass.
He's gonna get you, and so while we're all paying attention to this offense, and I did think that the defense did okay, I still think that if you're talking about who got out coached, Dan, you expected Dan to have a little bit more of a better game plan. McCarthy, I was kind of already nervous just the way he's been calling plays. Now I'm hearing that he hasn't left the office. I heard that he hasn't left the office. So that's great.
Good.
But I know, right? But I will say this. I really want to see Dan when you're playing a good OC or teams who are trying to take advantage of certain things. I do want to see him be a little bit better because now this is 2 games, Arizona and San Francisco, where they're taking advantage of your safeties. They're taking advantage of misdirection, and guys are just wide open.
It's also 2 games where you had, and if anybody paid attention to the ramp up, I might have been joking and kikiing about the Cardinals, but one thing I came out of them saying is I like their concepts. I said Drew Petzing is doing some really good things there. I didn't think they had the horses that were really going to be able to beat you because I thought the defense would come to play. But their concepts were really good, and they could put you in a blender, and that's what happened, right? I'm like, okay, maybe it's a one-off here. And so we get to the Niners game, and look, we play well against them. I'm assuming, hey, we play well against Shanahan. He got his number. Not really his number, but he knows him, right? And what happens? You got a dude who's better than Drew Petzing with better players, and you just got outclassed from a scheme standpoint. So that's why I say I come out of this game at all 3 levels with questions. And the one I was surprised to have a question about was Dan. I didn't want to have a question, but this is now 2 for 2 where you got some decent talent in Arizona and a really good scheme where you didn't work, and really good scheme, really good talent in San Fran, and it didn't work. So I'm looking at you sideways like, all right, it can become a copycat league. And so that's 2 times. Before I let you go, the gentleman, D. Webb, I think he's misunderstanding us here. He says, we want a F5 car offense with a bus driver quarterback. You're not paying attention. You're not listening.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not listening at all, man. You're not listening at all. You do not need to have you don't need to have the Rams offensive 99 at all, bro. Like I promise you, if you study film like me and Foot study film, go watch what the 49ers do. Go watch what now again, that's a fast team, so I really hate to use Miami, but just their concepts, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, the Lions,
the Lions are doing it really
you know what I'm saying? Like, go watch these teams. This is not some NASCAR racing type of things that they're doing, man. But they use pre-snap motion after the snap action very simplistic things to get, hey, your linebacker now has to look this way, and guess what? Right behind him, I got Debo. This ain't no NASCAR package stuff. This is simple stuff. That's why you see quarterbacks. One more foot, my bad. That's why you see these quarterbacks in these offenses I talked about. You would never say, hey, man, that's the best quarterback in the league. You wouldn't. You would not say that. That's not Patrick Mahomes. It's not Joe Burrow, right? You're not going to say that. But they're able to succeed in that offense because that offense is designed to make things easier for the entire offense. And that's what I thought we'd get a little bit more of. So, no, we're not asking for a NASCAR package offense with the bus driver quarterback. And I don't care if you call him bus driver. I've seen bus drivers win Super Bowl, so I don't really care.
And D-Web, the truth is this. Purdy was the last pick in the draft. His skill set hasn't changed. He doesn't have an alive arm where it's just a Josh Allen rope of an arm. What it is Kyle is tough because he's literally the best offensive coordinator. Him and McVay, they work together. And they came up together and worked under his father. They're the best offensive coordinators in the NFL. But this is what we're asking Mike to do. So on that mesh play, okay, Fred Warner is went to BYU. He's a smart linebacker.
Yeah.
He is probably the best linebacker, hands down, off ball in the league. It's not close.
I don't even think it's close.
What do you do? You have to play chess, and this will be my last example. So you say you want F5 bus driver. No, you want to press easy buttons. So when you're running mesh, right, and you have a linebacker as athletic and fast, as smart as Fred Warner, well, now use it against him. Like you said, you're using pre-snap motion with CeeDee just to see if we're in man or in zone. Why not rail your back up the sideline? Because all Fred Warner did was sit there and just take CeeDee off his path. So now you rail in that same vacated area because they were in man that was left, and maybe you had a play Sky, maybe you don't, but that same vacated area that was left will just rail Tony Pollard up the sideline instead of just having him just push to the flats and just sit there. That's what we mean by using spacing. You can't just leave CeeDee Lamb. Yes, we know that you're going to use CeeDee Lamb to come in motion and see if they're in man and just run them on a 3-yard route like Scott spoke about earlier, where it's just, he's just running 3 yards down the field. How about using the motion to maybe run a deep corner, a deep dig, something that's
7 route, something, yeah.
Where, now Fred actually has to turn and run. And I know, they it turned into the Fred Warner glory hole. I get it, but he's not going to run with CeeDee Lamb down the field. He's just not. But the problem is, hey, if you keep things within a 5-yard radius, Fred Warner will definitely
That's
close.
his game, man. That's his game.
yeah, he'll definitely close. So, we appreciate you for listening, but the problem is you guys say these things, but you have to go really watch, and you have to play chess with some of these guys. If you're just going to run mesh, Fred is going to step in front of it every time. If you're just going to run everybody off and then just throw a swing to Tony Pollard, he's going to close. He's going to punch the football out. So, to me, it's a simple fix. The middle of the field, the deep third. That's it. Play football. Stop worrying about interceptions.
Yeah.
Play football. Period.
Hey, Foots, I appreciate you calling in, bro, and getting this.
Man.
Of course, and we'll obviously wrap again.
You, man.
Keep doing your thing too. For those who may not know, which I ain't paying attention, but let them know where they can find your work at, bro.
Hey man, it was Cowboys Nation TV. Now it's just Foots the King. You guys know draft season. I'm with Sky once a week, right? But let's try to live in this moment in the season. You have 12 football games.
12 football.
Should we just Scott? Should we just forfeit the rest of our game?
I kind of took your tweet from earlier in the week and said the same thing. I'm like, look, there's a lot of fans that for whatever reason, in week 5, I get it was a terrible loss. It sucks. It stings, but they're just giving up. They've lost it. Their spirit's broken. I'm like, okay, that's cool, right? So if I was you, for your mental health, why are you talking about it? Why are we watching? Why are you even here? Like you're just feeding the miserable part of what happened. You're just feeding that, right? And you have all your right. You have the right to say the season's over, whatever. That's your right. But I don't get why you would feed that by being here. So because we have 12 more games, and unfortunately they're not going to quit, right? And I'm not going to quit. So we got to talk about.
I'm going to watch every second of every game.
I'm going to cover it. I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to figure out what we did well, what we didn't do well, how we can get better from it, how we can add on to it. That's just what it is, man. And I just, I just don't get. I mean, maybe because social media, but if I'm done with the team or I'm not watching them anymore or something like that, like I'm not I'm not tweeting my heart away about it or coming into these comments or chats and tweeting or commenting my heart away about it. That's just weird to me. Protect your mentals. I promise you. If you tuning into this show looking for me to feed your, emotions about being miserable, it ain't gonna happen. Protect your mentals. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just say it.
And to be fair, Scott, I watched you and Holly on the press conference. On the press game. Post game.
Post game.
You guys gave Dallas. You didn't give us any excuses. So stop with the, we got smoked. But like some of y'all act like you never lost anything. Dog, we still have a great team. Like, let me tell you this: would you rather be here or would you rather be Atlanta with Desmond Ridder with no shot? They have no shot. Not even would you rather be here or would you rather be we're gonna be fine. This team is gonna make the playoffs, and you scrap that game plan. Just completely burn it. Just never come with it again. And you go into the playoffs, okay? You're gonna be fine, Sky. This team is going
They're gonna win a bunch of ball games for sure. You gotta learn from this, Foots.
They're gonna win football games. We gotta learn from this. Thanks for having me on, Sky.
Of course, bro. Appreciate you, big dog. Foots, the
Appreciate
king.
you, man. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware, follow him on all social media platforms. I'll tell you, just like I told y'all about Koye, though. You want to get the film and stuff and the thought out opinions, YouTube. You want the smoke, follow at your own risk on Twitter. There's a handful of us. You better follow at your own risk on Twitter. I don't like to do the Twitter nonsense much. I told y'all that yesterday. But you better come correct with Foots because he wants the smoke. Appreciate you, bro. All right, man. We want super overtime. Get to these super chats. Pun intended. I mean, we're going to refresh or what we doing here? Then they just pretty much now let me see your super chats now. Come on, man. Come on, man. Give me a second, y'all. Let me let this load up. I got you, if it allows me to. Shouts out to the 475 people we still got sitting in here. I knew this week was going to be an interesting week. I get it. If you want to tune out every goddamn thing Cowboys. I used to be that way before this was my job, right? Like, when I say used to be that way, let me tell you my routine. When the Cowboys lost, I'm putting on a movie, a show. I ain't watching no damn Sports Center. Nothing for like 2 days, right? I don't want to hear it. And I'll wait for the podcast to drop, for the other, podcast, which I think it was on .com or whatnot. And I listen. But it took about 2-3 days, and I was like, I'm not dealing with this. But that's not the case. When you do what I do, win, lose, or draw, you got to be here for it all. No faking the funk. You got to take it, man. Here we go. The 11th one will start at the bottom. Cool Hands Lou. Cool Hands Lou, appreciate you, man. He dropped 5. It says, still getting a chance to catch you live. Thank you, man. I know you're going to bring it. Real Cowboy fans, relax on to the Chargers. Yeah, 100%. We on to the Chargers, man. Thank you. D-Web.
Super chat.
D-Web dropped 2 and said 3 realistic moves to save the season. Go. I don't think the season is lost. But I'll try to switch it up. It is your question, but 3 realistic moves to save the season. I'll say 3 realistic moves to improve. We'll just say that. Rashaan Evans. That's one. All right, get Rashaan Evans in here. I don't know where to start offensively because I do think schematically, Foots said it in regards to attacking deep third and middle of the field. That's a very specific aspect of it. I'll try to generalize that because that's a multitude of things. I'll just say we have to be more creative offensively, right? We got to be more creative. This was a game to really say, hey, offensive line is here. We got our weapons. Bring it all out. And if that was what your all out is, there's concern. So we got to be more creative pre and post snap. That's 2. Number 3. Let me see here. Because I want to see more Wanye. I'm not saying that's going to save the season or that's going to might improve it. I do want to see more Wanye. I do think there is something to the safety room. Not everybody is playing their best ball. So I do think you need it. Let's say this. I think you do need to make some personnel changes defensively to see what you got. I'll say that. So that's my 3. Be more creative offensively. Sign Rashaan Evans, your linebacker. And you might have to make a few personnel changes defensively. Hope that suffices for you, D-Web. DB.
Super chat.
He dropped 2 of them. He dropped 10 and said, great show. Get them likes up. Appreciate you, DB. And Dwayne also dropped 2 and said, preach Coach Marv, but that was actually Magic City Marv. If you're new here, just stick around for the offseason. You'll see Magic City more often. And then appreciate one of the mod guys in this thing.
Super chat.
Super chat. Brother L dropped 2 and said, salute to the Chargers talk we'll get tomorrow. As we were going through this, Brother L, and I knew it. I should have just waited to Thursday. I just knew. I'm like, well, why the hell are you even talking Chargers today? You know why you're doing it. It ain't going to last long, but maybe I'll quickly review what we saw on film from the defense tomorrow, and then we'll flip the script to the Chargers offense, which we should be familiar with in regards to the scheme. Just kind of a brief overlook. It's a lot of the same things we've seen when he was here talking about Kellen, but obviously there's different pieces now, right? And they will be getting Austin Eckler back. They don't have Mike Williams. He was a thorn in our side in the one game. They do obviously have Keenan Allen, and then Herbert is throwing a rock, which we thought would happen, right? This is going to be a team where they're going to put up some numbers and points, and they're going to be productive from that standpoint. But some of the same things were ailing them as were ailing us. They haven't been finishing as well, but they are on a 2-game winning streak. So 2-2 Chargers. We go visit them, and we'll take a look at that offense. There's, just like every team, there's some good things that they do, and then there's things that if you execute them, you can make life difficult for that squad. So we'll be here tomorrow talking about that. Once we open the lines up, then I lose all control. I lost the locker room, type of situation. But it's only fair. I try to let as many people as I can without the show going too overboard, or sometimes y'all get mad at me because I let people go long-winded. I know, I get it. But I try to, get people's opinions in here. That's why it's called Pulse of the Nation. But I'll try to be more strategic or more forceful in point 1, point 2. That's it, and let's move forward. I do got to get better at that. I promise y'all. We ain't a finished product here. Still getting better at that, man. Yeah, I feel you, man. Look, D-Web, I feel you, brother. He said, I'm passionate about this team, man. The drought hurts, bro. I'm not sure if you was here. Sky as players coach is crazy. I'm not sure if you was here in the offseason, but one of my things was like, I get it. I personally think we're in a more unique situation than any fan base in the National Football League. And what I mean by that is we are a proud organization, a historical one that has won a lot over decades, right? But hasn't won in decades and have been in contention per se. Whereas you look at Browns, you look at Cincy, whatever, a lot of the times they're like, oh, well, we suck ass. Like we're terrible. There's no hopes up or anything like that. But this organization, for like a 15-year period or more, since 06, about a little more 15, 06, we've had this, hey, man, there may be. So I personally think we're a more unique situation than anybody, than any fan base, point blank period. Because of the drought, the frustration that comes with it, every loss is magnified. Our emotions run wild. That's what Mondays are for. But then they continue to run wild. And I'm not knocking you, D-Web, or any other fan. I get it. I get the frustration. Unfortunately, we're in week 6, so the season ain't over for a lot of people that want it to be. So guess what? On to the Chargers. It's just that simple for me, man. Trust me. You don't want to know the things said in this house during the game. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna come on here and flip tables and go berserk. There's times you get angry, Scott, but I ain't gonna go all, what's my man's name? Boo his ass. It's like I'm not gonna go all Michael K show. I found out that's not Michael K. But I'm just not gonna do that, man. You might get a rant here and there from me, but I'm trying to figure out how to move forward because we are still in contention. We ain't the goddamn Giants. So just stick with us. Stick with me. If you're ready to be off the Cowboy train for this year, that's cool, but you're probably not going to get what you want on this show, and that's fine, man. Just keeping it being. With that said,
push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
My wife in the chat said game day. let me tell y'all how crazy game days are. My dogs my dogs get worried when it rains, right? But when the games are on, he clings to my wife. He's afraid that I'm going berserk, and I usually am. All right, we out of here, man. Love y'all. Peace. Feels wonderful, Swain. Feels wonderful. Hey, Mike, I go crazy, dog.